Hello, everybody. Thank you for attending the Code for Lovers Code Talk. Rem just dropped out. He's like, see ya. But
Quiet, but I'm still here.
okay. Yes, it's good to see or hear you, BA. I'm glad you came again. That's great.
Make it to as many as possible and
Yeah.
interact is the best word, I guess, with you guys.
That's awesome, and we'll have you as much as possible. It's great. So again, this is Code Talk. I haven't hosted one of these for in a minute, seriously. But basically for Code Talks, we kind of go over a topic in the beginning. We'll either have somebody present code, like whether it be their projects, something they've been working on, maybe some sort of open source code that they're excited about. Sometimes we have guests on to talk about something they've been doing, how they've transitioned out of the code camp and into the industry, or even guests who didn't go to code camp and who are just working in the industry. And then normally it's followed up by a code challenge through Code Wars or Elite Code, and we'll work on those as a group, or if we have enough people, we'll split out into different groups and try to work on them in whatever language people feel comfortable with, whether that's Ruby, JavaScript, maybe if we want to go crazy and try something else. Yeah, so that's an introduction basically to what Code Talk is. And today is Valentine's Day, so it's our Code Lovers edition. I didn't want it to be all mushy gushy, like, Valentine's Day. So I decided to be like, what do we love about code and what our most loved programming resources are? But so I asked the attendees ahead of time to like all you guys to kind of bring your favorite resources, and I'm first going to share some resources that Flatiron provides to all students that you may or may not be aware of. And if you're aware of any others that I don't know of, like when I'm done, I'll just, ask people and you can let me know. And then all of you, we can go like one at a time and share anything that you have. If you're like in JV's case, I know you're definitely a lot newer. It seems like you definitely have a programmer's mentality though, and are very into this. So if you don't have resources, that's fine. I won't be surprised if you do. And like I said earlier, if you can't talk, just type in the chat. I'll read it out. And as you share your resources, just if you could paste them in the chat, that would be great too. So let's see. I'm going to share my screen. right here. You can see my beautiful desktop. Uh,
I wonder how they got that picture. That is cool.
That is really neat.
yeah, I don't know.
I
Magic.
agree.
Magic. Just gonna move all your beautiful faces to my second monitor. You see my eyes like wander, that's what it is. Hide controls, okay. So this is, I'm sure all of you are familiar with this page. Okay, that's weird. So you might see this sometimes, how it's grayed out. And normally, oh, you know what? It's because I'm not on a lesson. Oh, and there it goes. It just took a little longer to load up, I guess. Because this, I'm pretty sure this runs on JavaScript. So sometimes it's a little buggy. You can see in here, so this right here is called Ask a Question, and it's abbreviated as AAQ. So right now, this is just basically, the Learn curriculum. This is AAQ, Ask a Question. It says to the community. Now, you can actually go on here and click on people's questions and help. So the reason I clicked on this and it didn't come up is because it's actually been resolved, and it's just this hasn't caught up to it. That's why they're not coming up. Oh, here we go. So you'll see here, like usually the beginning of the question, and then this is her whole question. Now these people are the TCs, which are technical coaches, and normally they're people who have graduated the Flatiron curriculum, and well, up until recently, they were mainly comprised of people who've graduated the Flatiron curriculum. A lot of times, graduates were encouraged to apply as TCs, and it's kind of like a internship sort of job. Only no, it's not an internship. It's like almost like a contract position. They completely expect you to be working between 3 to 4 months, doing this part-time while you're searching for a full-time job as a developer after graduating. So this would be to like supplement income and get more practice, honing your skills and helping other students through their challenges. I find a really good way to learn concepts a lot better is to explain it to other people, because sometimes the way you learn things isn't the way other people learn things, so then you have to think of a different way to explain something, and it makes you look at the problem from a different angle. So I say up until recently because there were a lot of there were a lot of instructor changes in Flatiron in November, and this video being recorded February 2020. in November 2019, there were a lot of instructors who were fired and just staff changes. And I know that some instructors didn't want to accept new titles and instead opted to become technical coaches. So we do have people like that working as technical coaches now as well. So a lot of times when you're on here, you'll have a technical coach respond in this little thing in here. You can view their profile, add them, stuff like that. But I could also respond to her and like ask her what the problem is. And you see how she said, can you provide context? And I'm not trying to call out this girl or anything, but um you know, it's kind of like a vague cry for help. If you're on here and looking for help, it definitely helps anyone who's willing to interact with you to give context. There's this very small type down here, and it says type 3 backticks to activate code snippet. So if you type that, you get this page, and anything you type in here, like um, I'm in JavaScript land, so I just like automatically defaulted to that. I don't know why. Like that will format into a code block in, I'm just gonna put it in, in here. And it makes it a lot easier to read than just typing it in as plain text because you have that formatting. um, but you'll see how mine doesn't have that little mark underneath of it where hers does. That's how you can tell, like, I'm another student in the course, whereas Dominique is, you know, I'm not actually positive if this means that she's, oh yeah, she definitely has to be a TC because also I've actually messaged with her. She's Philadelphia area, but also you see this karma points here. Everybody has that up here. You, I don't, I think it used to mean something, and now I think it's just an arbitrary number. But when you interact with people on this ask a question, you get karma points when you help people. So just the fact that she has this many, like, there's no way she's not a TC. So I'm pretty sure this means that she works for Flatiron. But that's conjecture more than anything. So, okay, so right here, this is the other resource. So help.learn.co. And I'm gonna put all this stuff in notes, by the way, and put it in the Code Talk Slack channel. I'm pretty sure all of you are in it, but just in case. So this is help.learn.co. If you have any questions, just search by keyword here. And they have stuff broken up into collections. So there's two things, two links that I keep finding myself going back to. The section leads, and really, like, people ask on Flatiron, or people ask on Slack, and so I keep going back here and copy the link and paste it, because this is kept up to date, this one. And also with local environment setup. But they actually did, I recently saw that they added, I don't know if you saw this, BA, they added setup instructions into the curriculum, which is really interesting. Then this will be a good transition over to another resource. I think it was like maybe 2 or 3 updates ago, Slack enabled a search, like a global search feature. And I can't tell you how many times that this is just like helped so much. You can here filter by shared by guy, WSL, and you can like see all the stuff that he's shared about it. Yeah, he even shared that one, the Micah one. So the difference between using the curriculum and going, wait, where'd it go? But yeah, oh look, there's shared by Steven. Right there. But you can search whatever you want. So another thing in Slack is like, you'll see up here, there's like the topic. They have like the planning resources, the form, links to the instructor, like the leads. And then they have the members and these pins. So they have pinned items, and I'll do this every once in a while. If I see something that I think is really valuable, you click more actions and you can pin to channel. So if it's like a resource that you're like, wow, that's like, that helped a lot, it shows up here. So like Chris, here we go. Rails models. I came across this, thought it would be a valuable resource, and Jen Hansen pinned it. So she used to be the Rails section lead. And yeah, dev hints is awesome. And so it's like a cheat sheet for Rails models. This is actually like, sorry if I'm taking one of your resources, Chris.
No, by all means.
But yeah, this is like a really good, quick thing to just be able to call up. And like I found a lot of stuff just by going in and looking at different, like JavaScript only has one. Free JS resources for the spare time you don't have. General is 8.
I do want to say thank you because I didn't know that stuff was at the top of the section there. I wouldn't have realized that on my own.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've been like all up and down Slack, so it's easy to miss stuff because there's so much going on and it updates like pretty often. But yeah, it's definitely easy to miss this. This is called the channel topic. So like for Code Talk, we have this: no judgment, no instructors, no pressure. Codes on previous sessions available here. And then I have a link to my notes file. And this is like, here's the notes from last week's Code Talk. And the notes for today will be here. And this is from last year and from 2018. And like all the challenges that we've done, like this is this year, 2019. I started highlighting the ones that we didn't actually complete as a group, so I know that we could go back to them. But like I'm keeping a list of the challenges so we don't do repeats by accident. But now it's like if we do something like here, like good versus evil, that's what Steven wanted to do before. Maybe we'll do that today.
It was Lord of the Rings themed. Or actually, I didn't know. Wait a minute, that looked like it was Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, I picked on the wrong one.
Okay.
But yeah.
It looked fun.
Yeah, this is Lord of the Rings theme. I'll minimize that. But okay. I gotta speed this up. Sorry guys. I tend to talk a lot. Holy shit, it's almost 1. Ugh, okay. There are just 2 more resources for Flatiron. So have you all seen Learn Instruct? If you haven't, you're welcome. Learn Instruct is a repository of video lectures, and the instructors, this is for study groups, and they started uploading graduation ceremonies, which is really awesome. I love that.
Cool.
They have them like organized by this, but I think that's a horrible way to do it. But at least you can see sort of organization. You can also search by keyword, but that's not going to return everything. It just depends on what the instructor tagged the video with. The last resource that I want to throw out is Student assistance program. I haven't used this personally. This is new. And Dwayne actually told me about this. He took, I think a lot of you knew about this already because he talked about it in his small victories group on Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't know, earlier this week. But it's a student assistance program. And it's for navigating the life stuff. And basically, it's counseling sessions. So it's up to 3 personal counseling sessions per year, 24/7 availability. It's independent of any organization and confidential, and can cover a whole bunch of, you know, issues. Global resources for your life. And then here's the code. You know, like going through a program like this is stressful as hell, especially with trying to keep up with the rest of your life. If you need to reach out, there's no shame in doing that at all. You don't have to advertise to the whole world that you're doing it. You can, if you want. You can say, hey, I did this thing and it was so helpful. Like, do it. That's great. Or you can just do it and get your help. And okay, so it's like a workplace type thing. Let's see what this looks like. Flatiron. But I know personally, like, I've had major struggles in the past with different life stuff. And if anybody wants to reach out privately or whatever, like, feel free to DM me. Let's see. I think yeah, I even have my phone number and Twitter, LinkedIn. That's all in my profile. So just like reach out, because I'm not gonna be like, it's not my problem. Like, I'd rather have somebody say something than just keep it inside and toil away and feel bad, because I know how that feels like and it sucks. But it looks like there's also here, if, and a lot of people don't feel comfortable speaking with people that they know personally. It feels better to talk with somebody that, like, they is impartial, they're not going to run into, it's like a professional. So right here, contact a counselor. So it looks like, yeah, it looks like there's a lot of resources on here. And I took up like all the freaking time. I just realized. So
Are
I'm,
you going to mention Balak? Or
yeah,
Balak, excuse me. Sorry, I keep mispronouncing that.
Balak. When I started this program, oh my God, look at that. It's a little toaster cat. Somebody's in here. I love it when I randomly log in and see like someone else in there. And it's not like I just shared it out. Just like somebody random is in here using it. It's great. But when I first started, well, not when I first started, but like after a while being in this program, you collect a lot of resources. You're like, what the hell's going on? I need to figure stuff out. Like Steven said, Google's amazing. It's your best friend. And you figure out a lot of stuff through that and you bookmark it. And your bookmarks turn into like a crazy drop down maze. And I'm like, this needs to be organized. PA's like, I'm there. Yeah, so I made my big ass list of code knowledge, which is Baylock, because I got admonished for cursing on Slack too much. So yeah, it's just how I talk, whatever. CRM. And this is a Google sheet that has resources divided up by tabs on the bottom. And it's just like you put the site name, the link, put like a category. I just try to think of something that makes sense. And then any comments you have on the actual resource. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot. And I need to update it because I have a lot more to add. I don't have any Python resources right now, so add them. For those of you watching.
I have one Python resource.
Okay, good. Add them. Yeah, that's the whole point. So we have all of these different.
Python and Java only.
Okay, cool. There's all these different tabs, and I'm gonna go back to the welcome page. So yeah, I just have like, here's why I made this, and I have a short link. It's bit.ly/flatiron-student-resources. Everybody's free to use it. Use whatever resources from it you want. Add your own. Just know that any changes that are made on here are reflected to everybody. So no deletions, just additions. If there's any deletions, I'm going to have to make it view only. And I don't want to have to do that. And this is not officially affiliated with Flatiron at all, even though it's shared by a lot of the instructors. It's just something I made. If you do contribute, put your name on here and link it to your GitHub account, because that's awesome and people should know. My end goal is to get this up on GitHub and have the README be a guide to contributing to open source. Have it be like a intro to open source contribution, how to make a pull request. So it's something really simple that you can do easily. And I'm hoping to be able to do that for my final project. I just haven't had the time to like.
I was going to ask about that. Looks like a good project idea.
Yeah, I haven't had the time to kind of get all this figured out how I want. And I have so many more resources just sitting in my bookmarks right now that I need to get up onto here. So that's going to be this weekend. So definitely like check it out on Monday because it will have grown a lot. Chris quoted me, "I am the front end fairy." Meg Gutschall.
It had to be done.
Thank you, Chris.
My pleasure.
Okay, so that is my spiel on my resources because there's obviously like too many to go through. Stephen, you seem very excited to share your resources.
So Google is obviously one of the main resources, but in terms of, all right, stackoverflow.com was a resource that I wanted to mention. Like oftentimes when I'm Googling a certain problem that I'm having, yes, the ultimate resource. And this one's the second ultimate resource. I've found answers to some of my questions through here, especially in the Google search results. There's always a Stack Overflow article or two that addresses that same issue. Let's see. One of the, I've got an entire Ruby on Rails thing right here. Here we are, Ruby on Rails guides. This one, yeah, this one's definitely been really handy. I'll give you guys the link to the index, but especially with stuff like migrations, validations, associations, these are coming in really handy.
And
So here's what?
Steven, can you go back to that first page, the index,
Sure.
and to the top? I just want to second, first off, I want to second this because it's completely true. This is, I spent so much time in here during Rails section. Also, they have, you see in that blue bar, the guides for earlier releases. So if you're not working on the latest Rails release, like make sure you have the right version for the guides.
In my case, I think it's probably Rails 5.2 or something like that. I'm not using Rails 6 yet because I haven't figured out how to set that up properly.
Really?
And the labs use an earlier version.
Oh, the labs, yeah.
api.rubyonrails.org. This has some really good resources. Like when you're using, Form 4 especially, this one has come in handy quite a bit because they've got examples and such of how this sort of thing works. And they might be easier to read than some of the other, like API doc or something. Hang on, I gotta.
So, Stephen, if you go back again to that page,
Which page?
the Rails docs,
This one?
and the very top, the black bar, you see it says API?
Yeah.
Click it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And you
All
see
right.
how on the side, it has like search for a class, method, blah, blah, blah at the top there. There's a search box in the top left.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So you can actually like traverse the API docs because it has that left-hand search bar.
Oops, wrong one.
And go like that. So you can like, I really like, yeah, you can see exactly where all that stuff is.
Oh, you know what? There is one more. I've encountered some helpful blog posts right here. It's because of Google search that I've come across this website a bunch of times in Slack and
The
such.
medium.
For the fun of it, I'll post the link to medium.com here. Oops, not in the URL bar. There we go.
Cool.
Yeah,
All right. Thank you, Steve.
no problem. Yeah, like I said, but honestly, like some of the most helpful resources are actually the people on Slack themselves.
Mhm.
I got a lot of help designing my Rails project thanks to them.
All right. Does anyone else? Chris, I know you got stuff.
Ooh, w3schools.com. That's a good one.
I was actually looking at some stuff. If anything, I can just add it to your spreadsheet. I would just recommend utilizing GitHub because a lot of people just overlook it, and all that source code was a big help in me getting to visualize how everything works hand in hand inside an application. So I would suggest totally checking out GitHub for different repos.
Any favorites? I know you have one favorite.
Would that favorite be Meg Gutshell's?
No.
Sorry. I don't really have. What's my favorite showing? Well, I mean, there's a bunch of different books on there. What I really am into right now is definitely the React documentation for sure. But depending on
the
where you
documentation.
I'm sorry.
The documentation,
Yeah,
not
for
the
sure.
not the repo.
I like the documentation from the actual website. One of my favorite repos right now, and this is depending on where you are in the curriculum, but there's a book written, I don't know the gentleman's real name, but his handle is Getify, and he wrote a book called You Don't Know JS Yet. It's a phenomenal book. Great read. I haven't finished it yet, but from what I am reading, it just helps me every day. So I really enjoyed that.
I think so actually
Let me see if I have the resource.
there you go.
Yep.
You don't know JS.
I just realized JS could stand for something else in this context, but I better not say it.
So Alice shared this with me as well. It's the same guy. Functional light JavaScript. So if you like that, you might like this one too, Chris.
I will definitely check it out. But if you're a fan of documentation, it's gonna be pretty hard to beat what React has going on their website. It's just very impressive. A lot of tutorials once you get to React inside of their documentation. So I think
Could
that
you
should be the
send?
first place where people look.
Would you mind sending us a link to this thing?
It's in the chat.
Oh, yes, it is. Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks, Chris.
No worries.
BA, I see you shared coding bat Java. Oh, yeah, this is the one that you said Java and Python.
Yeah,
Nice.
I years ago started college for computer science, and so my Java class, like, he would give us assignments from here to do, but like I loved going through them. I did every single one for the fun of it. I couldn't now in Java, but I was thinking about, like, after this program going through the Python ones and relearning Python.
Yeah. Python, I feel like is Ruby's cousin. So, yeah, this looks cool though.
Sweet.
Definitely gonna add that to the
They're just fun,
Baylock.
fun little puzzles in there. Not too hard.
we could always use fun little puzzles. Not everything has to be like heavy documentation or a big book or a huge thing, you know. And W3 Schools is definitely a classic, good reference.
Yeah, I end up using that quite a bit.
Well,
I
look at that. They even have a Python resource.
I
yeah,
noticed that when I pulled it up to paste the link. I didn't know that before.
Oh, wow. Python and Java. Cool.
I started with W3 Schools like back in 2013 maybe. W3 resource.
Oops.
There's some
This
stuff in
took
there, too.
me. Sorry, what?
I was just mentioning that there's a lot of good stuff in the W3 resource that Meg has on her screen right now.
Cool.
I was going to say, I thought it was a different. Never mind. Wow. By the way, Meg, you mentioned Leet code earlier, right?
Yes.
I haven't actually used that yet. What sort of challenges can you do on there?
Um, I'll get to that in just a second. I just want to see if VA has any more resources she'd like to share.
No more that I think of.
Okay. And JV, are you just hanging out and taking things in, or did you have any resources you want to share?
Yeah, so I'm pretty new to this. You guys are way advanced. So for now, I'm doing benefiting. Hopefully down the line, I can contribute.
Yeah, that's all. Yes, just hang out, take it in, pass it along, you know? I mean, I remember the first time you came to a code challenge and you were like definitely contributing. Even if it wasn't in code, you're contributing logic, so that
Well,
helps.
you guys made it easy. Appreciate the welcome. That made a difference.
Oh,
Okay, so Leet code is a new way to learn. Let's see. Oh, I got +1 gold circle for checking in. My daily
cool.
check-in that happens like once every couple months. So it's a its goal is to get you ready for code interviews. And let's see. All right, cool. So they got like lessons, interviews. you see how some of them are marked as premium? So like you can get a premium subscription. They have mock interviews that you can try. Oh, it's new. Oh. But this is what I joined it mainly for. These are the problems, and let's see. Acceptance difficulty. Use acceptance.
So is that JavaScript or something else?
It's you can do you can pick the language, I believe. I'm trying to think of here. I'm just gonna pick this one. Add two numbers. It's been a while. Yeah, so you can pick the language. They have a lot to pick from. But I think that Leak Code is more difficult than Code Wars. It's a lot like Code Wars. I just think Code Wars has a stronger community because it's not so focused on getting a job as it is like just practicing and learning code. Whereas Leak Code is like, do you want to work for Apple? Do you want to work for Google? This is where you need to be. So, you know.
By the way, I'm actually going to post a couple of resources in here that I forgot about.
Okay.
The first one I've heard is really helpful. I haven't started JavaScript yet, but I'm probably going to be using this resource. It's Eloquent JavaScript.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I have
And
it upstairs.
yeah, and the other one is REPL.it. We've used that a lot in the Code Wars, just to test out code.
Replit. An eloquent JavaScript. Can read it online here. Get your own paperback. You know what? I'll do you one better. Let's see.
I have one too that I like a little bit better than REPL.
CodePen?
No, CodePen is really good though. I really do like CodePen. You can, I use CodePen as like a visualization, right? So you can actually see it in live time. But my favorite so far has been Code Sandbox.
All right. So, let's see if this works.
I know I've heard of that. I think I might have used that before.
Oh, wait. JavaScript. Yeah. So if you want a PDF, there it is. I don't remember where I got it from. But oh, I used this before. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
REPL is really good for like, I guess it just depends on how comfortable you are with the interface, right? So with this interface, I was just super comfortable because it gives you everything. It gives you, you can render to the browser right there. Yeah, it has a whole bunch of different languages.
Wow.
Nice.
Wait, I create sandbox. Vanilla JS. It doesn't have Ruby?
Honestly, I started using it in JavaScript, so I didn't even
Uh,
check for Ruby. But
well,
evidently,
well,
right? That's weird.
explore template, React, UI.
Um, wow.
All right, we'll just do vanilla. Oh wow, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
This is nice. Um, if you want to like test right away.
for sure. You can make numerous, you can make a number of files right there. I don't know. It was just super convenient, especially when you're in JavaScript because a lot of different things are going on at once. So, um, yeah.
Wow.
But REPL is fine. I'm not discrediting REPL at all, Steven. That's a great resource.
No, that's fine. I'd love to see the other stuff. REPL does have its limits because there's only so many people who can
Yeah.
go on there at one time.
As Rem said, they went for the money grab. But
Um, if you don't mind, I'm actually going to post one more resource because I just remembered it.
not at all. Keep them coming.
If you want to fiddle around with regular expressions and stuff, rubular.com is really good for that.
Oh yeah. I think we did talk about that in a previous code talk.
Yeah,
But
I think so.
I actually found a really good resource for regular expressions. This website, regularexpressions.info, has everything you could ever want about regular expressions. This regex buddy, I thought was gonna be something like Rubular, but it's a paid thing, so
Hmm.
don't be fooled. But this is cool because it has like here, and I'll put that in the chat too.
Thanks.
It has like a quick start that just explains the basics. It has tutorials, reference. No, wait, what is it? Yeah, quick reference. So if you know the character and you're like, if you have like an expression, you're like, what the heck is that? I forget. So like a \B, you and then you can look it up. Oh right, that's a word boundary or a backspace character, depending on which language it's in. Um, that's the thing. So let's see. Here we go, applications and languages. So if you click on applications and languages, when I say depending on which language it's in, there's different rules for regex when it comes to different languages. So like Ruby, it has using regular expressions of Ruby, and it tells you the rules. Like Ruby supports these types of modifiers, and it tells you those. How to use this, the regex object, special variables, search and replace, splitting strings and collecting matches. And then those are different than using regular expressions with JavaScript because these are the modifiers. Ruby has 4, and JavaScript has 3. So they both have the I and the M. So that means like case insensitive and uh, M makes the dot match new lines. Oh, so the dot character, like the period character, matches a new line character. But in JavaScript, I means the same thing. It's case insensitive, but M means enable multi-line mode. So you have to like remember when switching between languages, even though you're using regular expression patterns, it will differ depending. So this gives like a really good breakdown of that, depending on language. But
Very cool. I also have 2 blog resources if anybody's into like reading blogs and wants to take a break from documentation. They're pretty known, so you might already know about them. One is egghead.io, put that in the chat, and the other is dev.to.
mm,
A lot of good stuff. Dev.to is turning into a very big community for developers.
mm-hmm.
So they'll have blogs that like Medium's good for that too. I like Medium's interface, but I feel like the knowledge in dev.to is a lot more broad.
I think I also think Medium's good. Like Medium in itself is a bigger
Entity.
website,
Yeah.
yeah, entity. But it's a blogging site, so it covers the gamut.
For sure.
Dev.to is solely about development, so everything on here is geared towards developers. And actually, a former Flatiron student is a employee here. They posted in Slack recently. I'm trying to remember. Can you talk about Egghead for a second, Chris? Like just what it is? Because I haven't heard of it before.
No, I was introduced to it a while ago. I didn't really know what it was. Currently I'm under the assumption that it's more like a blog slash tutorial site. There's some of the bigger contributors of the React framework, Kent C. Dodds and Dan Abramoff. They contribute heavily to egghead.io. So I'm always constantly seeing like retweets and blogs posted to Twitter. So I'm always, chasing those links. But it's just a really good place to learn from like cutting edge developers who are doing like the new stuff. So I just think it's a good way to get ahead of the game. Ken C. Dodds is a really good follow for anybody interested. Well, when you get to that part in the curriculum, I try to stay away from React when I was in Ruby. I engaged with JavaScript when I was, going through that portion of the curriculum. So feel free to take your time, but just be aware that these resources are available because they will help you for sure.
This looks, wow. This looks
Yeah.
actually really awesome.
Yeah, there's some heavy hitters in there for sure. So that's why I tend to go to places where like prominent people in the industry are going and sharing their views and ideas. I feel like that's a great place to be. As a not to say that, you know, everybody's opinion doesn't matter, but they're working hands-on with cutting edge technology. So I feel like it's a good place to
Mhm.
spend some time.
Yeah. Oh, and they have some Ruby on Rails too. Uh, they only have 4, but that's okay. Better than nothing.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow.